I think what's interesting when you look at people's objections to Christianity is they really fall into two categories. There's questions about whether Christianity is true, and there are questions about whether it's good. You could say intellectual objections and moral objections. It was interesting thinking about the objections of new atheists today. Someone said the strapline of the new atheists could be, we don't believe in God and we hate him. And that kind of sums up really the kind of the intellectual and the moral objection. We don't believe, but we don't like the gods that we don't believe in. And Stephen Fry, in a recent interview on Irish television, kind of summed that up when he says it's not simply that atheism says that God doesn't exist, but also it raises the question, what kind of God as well? So I think you could sum up all questions really into those two kind of foundations, questions or objections to the goodness of God and to the truth of God's existence. And really our responses to those questions really need to take that into account. Is the base to someone's objection to Christianity really because they cannot believe, or is it, and often this is the case, more often the case, that they don't want to believe? It's not simply that the evidence doesn't stack up in their minds, but the God that they think is there is this kind of evil dictator, and so that they don't want God to exist. Therefore, they're not particularly going to listen to the evidence for his existence. I'll give you one example. I was doing a week of events in a university in the UK a couple of years ago, and on the first day we had a discussion about the existence of God. And there were probably half a dozen or more very strong, committed atheists who came along. It was a lively and kind of dynamic discussion. And at the end, we hadn't really got very far. But as a result of that discussion, some of the guys came back to the other events through the week where we particularly looked more at the moral objections, questions like suffering, sexuality, and hell. And at the end of the week, one of them came up to me and he said, I'm still not sure whether a God exists, but if he does exist, after what you've said, and if he's like the God you've described, then I'd be a lot more open to his existence. And I thought that was really insightful. Actually, his real objection was a moral objection. He didn't want God to exist. And understanding that the God of the Bible was good in the face of those kind of questions and objections really helped him to then be open to looking more at the intellectual evidence for God's existence.